Some say the early bird gets the worm. But when you're over 60, the early bird gets more than just worms. It gets better health, sharper focus, and a stronger sense of purpose. If you naturally wake up with the sun, or even before it, without setting an alarm, it says something powerful about your internal rhythm. Your body's clock is ticking just right. Sleep experts have long studied circadian rhythms and found that those who align well with the natural day-night cycle tend to have better mental clarity, balanced hormones, and even improved heart health. But let's be real, you probably didn't start waking up early just for health reasons. Maybe it started back in the days of factory work, farming, or raising a house full of kids. That old school discipline stuck with you, and now you're reaping the rewards. Waking up early gives you something more valuable than time: peace. The early hours are quiet, peaceful, undisturbed. You can sip your coffee, read the newspaper, take a walk, or just breathe, and that does wonders for your nervous system. Plus, studies show early risers tend to be more optimistic and proactive. They plan ahead. They don't procrastinate. They're less likely to feel depressed. That morning sunshine helps your body produce serotonin, a happy hormone that keeps your mood up and your body strong. So if you're part of the Sunrise Club, whether by habit or choice, know this: your body is probably set up for a longer, healthier life. Keep rising early. It's one of the best things you can do, and you've been doing it all along. If you still chuckle at a good joke, grin at silly memories, or find yourself belly laughing with friends, even after all these years, congrats. That laugh might be adding years to your life. Laughter isn't just something that makes you feel good. It's a biological signal. When you laugh, your body reduces stress hormones, boosts immune cells, and releases endorphins, the feel-good chemicals that promote a sense of well-being. Think about it. When you were younger, how often did you laugh with buddies, family, or coworkers? And today, if you've kept that habit alive, it means you haven't lost your sense of joy, your playfulness, or your emotional flexibility. You're still open to fun, and that's rare and powerful. In fact, studies from longevity researchers show that people who laugh regularly live longer, healthier lives. They're more resilient. They bounce back from illness faster. Some researchers even say laughter is like internal jogging. It gets your heart rate up, stimulates your lungs, and relaxes your muscles. Not to mention the social part. Laughter brings people together. If you're still swapping jokes with neighbors, making your grandkids giggle, or enjoying reruns of old sitcoms, you're keeping your social brain active. So go ahead and laugh. Laugh at the silly things. Laugh at yourself. Laugh with others. It doesn't make you childish. It makes you strong. And if you're watching this video with a smile on your face right now, that's already sign number 2 that you're in this for the long haul. Let's be honest. As we age, we lose things. We lose speed, we lose hair, we lose people. But if there's one thing that keeps us human, it's connection. If you still got a friend or two that you call regularly, or if you're the guy who always has a chat at the local coffee shop, that's not just heartwarming. That's life extending. Longevity studies from around the world, from small villages in Italy to the mountains of Japan, show the same thing. People who live the longest aren't necessarily the ones who eat the best food or have the best doctors. They're the ones who stay connected. And no, this doesn't mean you need hundreds of friends. Just 1 or 2 deep relationships make a world of difference. Someone you can trust. Someone who listens when your back aches or when you're remembering the good old days. That's medicine. Even light social interaction, waving at neighbors, cracking jokes at the barber, asking the waitress how her day is, keeps your brain sharp and your spirit young. Social connection lowers the risk of depression, dementia, and even heart disease. So if you've got an old fishing buddy, a cousin you still call every Sunday, or just someone who always shows up at the diner with the same order, you're doing better than you think. Friendship isn't something we outgrow. It's something we grow into. And if you've kept it alive all these years, you've already unlocked one of the greatest secrets to long life. You don't have to run marathons. You don't need to bench press your body weight. But if you're still moving, still walking, stretching, gardening, or even fixing the roof when no one's looking, You're doing exactly what your body needs. Movement is life. Simple as that. Our muscles were made to work. Our joints were made to move. And our hearts? They were made to pump with purpose. As we age, it's not about pushing harder. It's about not stopping. Maybe you take daily walks around the block. Maybe you still ride a bike or sweep the porch or tend to your backyard. All of that adds up. In fact, people who live into their 90s and beyond almost always have one thing in common. They never stop doing. Even small, everyday actions, getting out of your chair, reaching for the top shelf, raking leaves. Those movements keep your bones strong and your balance steady. They prevent falls. They keep you independent. And they tell your body, hey, we're still going. What's more, movement helps your mind. Studies show regular physical activity improves memory, mood, and even creativity. You might think better during a stroll than you do sitting still. So don't worry about counting steps or doing push-ups. Just keep doing what you've always done. Move with intention, enjoy the outdoors, and keep your body in rhythm with life. And hey, if you can still touch your toes without groaning too much, that's just icing on the cake. Food has changed. These days, it comes in shiny packages, wrapped in plastic, and full of things we can't even pronounce. But you remember what real food tastes like. If you still eat meals that are cooked, not processed, simple, not artificial, then you're feeding your body the kind of fuel it actually recognizes. That matters more than you know. Maybe you grew up with home-cooked dinners, passed down recipes, and the kind of meals that took time to make. That habit sticks. And now, in your later years, it's protecting you from within. The science is simple. Diets rich in vegetables, fruits, grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats are linked to longer lifespans. But it's more than just what you eat. It's how you eat. If you still sit down at the table instead of eating in front of the TV, if you still say grace before meals, if you still savor each bite instead of rushing, it all adds up. And here's something wild. Researchers say people who cook at home at least 5 days a week live longer on average than those who don't. That's because cooking isn't just about nutrition. It's about routine care, memory, and sometimes love. So if you're still slicing tomatoes instead of opening a can, if your grandkids love your stew more than fast food, if you've got a favorite pan older than they are, you're already doing something right. Good food is more than fuel. It's a way of life. And your life's got flavor that lasts. You've probably heard this before. Retirement is the end of the road. But for many who live well into their 80s and 90s, retirement isn't an end. It's a new beginning. If you still have something that gets you out of bed in the morning, something that gives you even the smallest sense of responsibility or pride, you're holding onto one of the strongest predictors of long life. It doesn't have to be a job. It could be tending a garden, mentoring a neighbor, helping at the community center, building birdhouses, teaching your grandkid how to tie a hook, or even just feeding the cat. A reason to wake up, that's what keeps the soul alive. Scientists call it ikigai, a Japanese word that means a reason for being. Research shows that older adults with a sense of purpose have significantly lower risks of disease, better sleep, improved mental clarity, and stronger hearts. Not because of medicine, but because they feel needed. If you feel like someone still counts on you, even if it's just your dog waiting for his walk, you've got that spark. And that spark? It's a fire that keeps you going. Think about it. The men who live the longest aren't just the ones who take pills and eat kale. They're the ones who still matter to someone or something. They're still in the game. So if you've got a project half finished, a prayer you still say every morning, or a story you're still writing in your mind, you're not done yet. You're still growing. And that's a very good sign. Let's talk about something that no blood test or fitness tracker can measure: peace of mind. You've lived through a lot. Good times, hard times, loss, joy, maybe even regrets. But if you've made peace with your past, if you've forgiven others, or more importantly, forgiven yourself, you're carrying a lighter load. And people who carry light tend to walk farther. Bitterness, resentment, unresolved grief, those are heavy. They don't just affect the heart emotionally. They can wear down the body physically. Scientists now know that chronic emotional stress contributes to inflammation, heart disease, and even dementia. But if you've learned to let go, to accept that life isn't perfect, people aren't perfect, and neither are we, that acceptance creates a kind of freedom. And freedom feels young. You might not talk about it often, but if deep down you've come to terms with your story, if you're proud of the way you lived, or at least made peace with the lessons, you've done something that not everyone manages to do. You've cleared your emotional debts. That doesn't mean everything's been easy, but it means you didn't let it define you. And now, you smile more. You sleep better. You enjoy the small things, like warm toast and quiet mornings. Peace with the past is the final sign that you're living not just longer, but better. You've walked through storms, and you've come out wiser, calmer, and ready for whatever's next. And maybe, just maybe, that next includes many more good years.